You very much for subscribing to this our channel. Hope you enjoyed our last video that we explained fuel dumping and what could result in aircraft dumping fuel in flight. Thank you so very much for choosing our channel, and I hope it's informative, it's interesting. Please feel free to contact us on the area we can improve, area you want us to improve, and do better and bring better content to your doorstep. Thank you so very much. Today we promised, yes, on our last video that we're going to be explaining performance implication that has to do with long haul flight, short haul flight, and medium haul flights. Basically, in a layman understanding, long haul flights are basically flights that are over 6 hours. Flights that are over 6 hours are considered long haul flights for a very long distances. And short haul flights are flights that are less than 3 hours, and what is between the long haul and short haul flight can be considered to be medium haul flight or medium range flight. When you are doing a long haul flight, don't forget that there is no provision for you to stop in the air and take fuel. Now, when you're doing a long haul flight, you need to take the max or the required fuel for your trip, following the fuel policy. Fuel policies are different considering the country that you're operating in or the country you're operating into. There are different fuel policies according to the regulations. Now, if you consider the fuel policy, you need to take the required sector fuel. The sector fuel consists of a lot of fuel: the trip fuel, the contingency fuel, the alternate fuel, the holding fuel, the final reserve, depending on the company policy and depending mostly on the country you're flying into. Because I might have a different policy here in Nigeria and you're flying into Europe, and it's required that the holding fuel will be 45 minutes as against 30 minutes that we're using in this side of the world. So you need to actually conform to the policy of where you're flying into. For instance, if you're flying into Europe and you're not PBM compliant, nobody will consider just because you're coming from Nigeria, okay, just come into our airspace. No, you need to be PBN compliant because what they are flying there is performance-based navigation. And if you don't have PBN qualification, you don't have PBN compliance, it could affect other aircraft's safety. Other people in the airspace, it could affect their safety because for PBN aircraft, they are more sophisticated from what I actually understand. Now, for a short haul flight, is a flight basically less than 3 hours. All those flights very short, in less than 3 hours, you've gotten to your destination. Those are short haul flights. But short haul flights, you are limited by landing weight. I will explain. You are limited by landing weight in the sense that you need to take fuel that within that short haul or within that short period you are going to fly, you are able to burn fuel to fall within the maximum structural landing weight. That's for short haul flight. So you are restricted or you are limited by landing weight. For long haul flight, you are limited by takeoff weight. So whatever you are taking, you should make sure that when you take off, you should fall within the structural takeoff weight. Now, you are going to fly for a very long period, and if you're going to fly for a very long period, you are going to burn out some fuel and still fall within the landing weight before you get to your destination. Let's say you fly from Singapore to London Heathrow. It's going to fly for a very long period, burn out some quantity of fuel for hours. That will still allow the aircraft to fall within the maximum structural landing weight. That's the performance implication for all this. So when next you're planning your flight and you are doing a long haul flight or a short haul flight, please kindly check what is limiting you, what is restricting you. Yes, if you check what is limiting you, to help you to plan better. Because if you are limited by landing weight and you're giving this aircraft the fuel that this aircraft can fly to destination and still not fall within the maximum structural landing weight, that means you're preparing for disaster. So we are always here to share ideas. And for medium range flight or medium haul flight, it just falls between long haul and short haul flight. Yes, but in medium range flight, you need to actually make good calculations so that if you are going for a place, you need to make your calculation in the sense that you will not be limited by your landing weight and you will not be limited by your takeoff weight. Yes, You will not be limited by your landing weight, meaning if for a short haul flight, maybe you are going to fly, you need to make calculation adequately to make sure that you are able to take off and you are able to land at your destination. So that's for short, medium range flight. In our next video, we are going to be explaining more on performance implication, what has to do with aircraft planning, the runway elevation, the field elevation, the other factors that could affect aircraft performance in flight and before flight. Thank you so much.